What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about what's going on with Tesla spying the QQQ, break down some very important levels. I'm going to talk about what's going on with the FOMC meeting, what the market's expecting, and what just came out with the PPI report, and how this is impacting the pre-market technicals for market open and also for the current trading day. Now, before I break anything down about all this information, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Put in $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $100 cash reward. Offer ends very soon. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. The market's up in the pre-market once again. SPY's up about 0.11%. It's currently very close to that 437 range, and we're still holding up quite nicely. Now, we do have this pre-market gap right over here, where the market gapped up a bit, so we could see a slight slowdown by the time we open. And we do have a bearish cross on the PPO on the 30-minute time frame, but once again, we have to watch and see how it reacts to support. We have support at 437, also 436.64, so make sure you watch those levels carefully. And now we need to talk about something else that just came out. The PPI report came out. I'm just going to briefly talk about it. Basically, this is the producer price index. It's like CPI from the producer's side, and this data was pretty good. Almost everything was better than expected. One thing was just very close to expectations, and overall, very good data. PPI month over month was down 0.3% versus the forecast of it being up 0.1%, so lower than expected. Core PPI month over month was up 0.2%. The forecast was 0.1%, so a tiny bit higher than expected. Core PPI year over year was up 2.8%. That's lower than the forecast of 3%. And finally, PPI year over year was 1.1%, lower than the forecast of 2.1%. So as you can see, the majority of these metrics were lower than expected. That's good news for the markets. That's part of why the market is up in the pre-market. However, the real question is, how will we react moving forward? Just as a reminder, at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, we have the interest rate hike decision. That's going to be very important. Market's going to make a huge move. And then that's going to be separate from the press conference. The press conference is going to happen at 2:30 p.m., a little bit after that. So be ready for this. That's when Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. Powell is going to say some very important things, and you have to be ready. PPI, overall, we saw demand declined by 0.3%. Goods fell 1.6%. Services increased 0.2%. So once again, very good stuff. The market is still up. It's still very excited, very optimistic, and we are expecting the Fed to pause. There's a 94.2% chance that's going to happen according to the markets based off what they're pricing in, and about a 5.8% chance we're going to get another rate hike. So now let's break down these levels. As you guys know, in the morning, the market may see some very sideways price action. You're going to be watching support at this 436.65 level on SPY, 437 as well. Then if that breaks, there's going to be 436.25, 436, and then 435.76, followed by 435. If we try to break out, we're going to be watching resistance right around this 437.75 to 438 zone. This entire zone has lots of resistance. Break that, and we have the potential to go all the way up to 440. Now, it's not going to open up too easily or like break these levels very easily. What I'm thinking is we may see some very choppy price action to start off the day, and then we're going to get a big reaction, a very, very big move when the rate hike decision comes out. When the decision comes out at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, if this thing breaks out, we have some resistance at this 438, then 440, and the next major resistance is going to be 442. So this line right here, that's very big, this very thick line. Let me just bring it up right here. This thick line right here, this is where we have major, major resistance. If we want to remain bullish, okay, we need to break this 442 level and hold above it for an extended period of time. We have to be able to do that. And if we manage to do that, the market could continue to pump, and we could see this thing slowly ascend to that 450 level over the next couple of trading days to weeks. It could take some time though, but if we pump to 442, you have to remember this is a major, major level. We could get a rejection first before anything continues to happen, right? So even if it rejects off here to cool off the RSI a bit and it just trades sideways because of Powell, it could still try to break 442 in the future as we approach like the 4th of July or something. So my point is, you got to watch this 442 level. If we break it immediately, we have more potential to push up into getting closer to 450. If we get an initial rejection from it, it could take a little bit longer for that to happen, depending on what the rate hike is. Now, let me also add that if we do get a rate hike, okay, and they give us another 25 basis point rate hike, the market's going to get a big rug pull, and we're going to come down pretty darn hard. So you have to be prepared for that. SPY is going to come all the way back down below 430 into the 420s and even lower than that potentially. So You have to be ready for this. It's going to be very huge, and I can't wait for the big data to come out. As for Tesla, this thing is up about $3 in the pre-market, but it does have this gap right here from the pre-market. So there's a good chance Tesla may cool off just a little bit by the time we open. We have a 30-minute bearish cross, 30-minute, bearish cross right now. And we're going to see what Tesla does. We're going to be watching the support at 260. If that fails us, then we're going to be watching this 257 range, 257.38 to 257.5. If that fails us, there's 255.7 and 254.26. Now, if Tesla manages to hold above this 260 level, because we're about to get a test most likely, if it holds this, we're going to be watching resistance at 262.9 to 2.262.5, then 2.6.3 comes afterwards, then 265 will come after that. And if it breaks that, we could get closer to this 268 to 270 area. And if it breaks that, we could get closer to 275 all the way up there. Now, these are a lot of the support and resistance levels to look out for. Tesla's likely going to be a little weak by the time we start off, see some sideways price action, kind of range trade a bit. And then when the rate hike decision comes, I'm expecting a big move. If the Fed raises the rates again, Tesla's going to get rug pulled and come all the way down below 250, very, very low, all the way down to like 235 or lower. It's going to get a big rug pull. It's going to just continue to drop. If they don't raise the rate and they pause, we have the potential to see Tesla get an initial pump all the way up to this 270, or if not a little bit higher. 270, 275 could come. And if that ends up coming, that's going to be awesome for Tesla. But we're going to wait and see if we get an initial rejection in these higher levels, because we're not just going to shoot through everything immediately. Now, even if Tesla rejects immediately off like 270, we just cool off a little bit, or 275, we could always come back later to break these levels. It could take a little bit longer to do so, because you have to remember on some of these time frames, like I mentioned, Tesla's a little bit overbought, but I just want to be very patient nonetheless. But if Tesla keeps shooting up and it just breaks 275, it's going to be well on its way to like 285 to 290, then potentially 300. Could also happen, but I would be expecting it to take a little bit longer if it does end up going that high. It's not going to happen in just one day. We're not just going to go to 300 by tomorrow. It's likely going to take a while, right? That's going to be a lot more healthy. That's why I'm breaking down these levels. You got to watch it on a level-to-level basis. And that's the reason why we have to watch for confirmation. Can Tesla hold above 270, then 275? We'll have to wait and see. If we get the pause, there's a good chance Tesla will continue to uptrend over time. Even if we get an initial rejection, it could always make its way back up later on. So make sure you watch these levels and you are prepared for all of this. Finally, for the QQQ, okay, if we get a pause, the QQQ has the potential to continue pushing quite nicely. It could test this 365 area, could even pump a little bit more. If we get an initial rejection closer to like 370, that's going to be completely fine. Could slow down just a little bit, but it could always continue to pump later on, because the market is going to have a lot more positive sentiment thanks to the rate hike. And then we could continue to see this pump to 375 plus. Now, if we get not a pause, but the market just gets a rate hike, we're going to see a big rug pull below 350. And let me just add that the big move is going to come at 2 o'clock p.m. We're going to be watching resistance at the time. We may not shoot through everything immediately. It may take some time for us to like actually hold these levels. So you have to be patient and watch resistance at 366, 368, 370, followed by 372.5, then 375. So watch resistance first. Maybe we push up. If we get a pause, we could reject initially. Okay, Powell could say a couple of things. The market just trades sideways. And then later on, down the road, it could always break out even more later on. It could take a little bit longer to get those bigger moves. The market does not just like make every move in just 1 minute. So please, please, please be very patient. The PPO on SPY, excuse me, the PPO on SPY is looking a little bit bearish, so it is cooling off just a little bit. We may cool off in the morning, but we're going to be watching support for the time being. But until then, I just want to say I appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. Sorry about all the this video. I mean, I can't really like edit anything or do anything like that. I have to rush and get this out as fast as possible. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll most definitely see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon. Get ready for the market open. And peace out.